All right. All right. Let's see. Let's make sure we got the sound on. I want to make sure y'all can see the screen. Let me make. What's up, Santiago? Let's get it. Let's get it. Can I do a test? Can I test this somehow? Maybe I can click like a different video. Can I like, hey, hold up, let me test this. All right, I'm gonna test this with this real quick.
You'll handicapped in the draft. Are you going to retain any of the college staff?
Okay. Let me know how that sounds.
Also, kind of as a follow.
I think if y'all can hear that, let me know. Let me know if y'all can hear that, man. If y'all can just hear that little clip, because if you guys can hear that, that means we'll be able to hear. We'll be able to hear what's. I must say what's his face. We'll be able to hear our boy in a second. Aaron Glenn from the Saints. Bro, okay, let me tell y'all a goofy story real quick before this thing gets started. I'm literally working on a video right now of Aaron Glenn, the candidate. Boom. Guys hired as our defensive coordinator. So guess what? I may throw in like an extra clip in the beginning and be like, hey, hold up. I made this video earlier. This is our next defensive coordinator. Watch the video. I don't know. Maybe I won't. We'll see. Sounds good? Okay. Turn it up. All right, I can turn it up. Y'all let me know as we go. I have the settings, though. I know what I'm doing a little bit, so I think we should be good to go. Let me pull up the chat over here. I'm excited. Y'all ready for this? Come on, man. We get to hear from our guy, Brad Holmes. Let's get it, Brad. All right. Boom. Can't wait for a new GM. I'm ready to hear this. Okay, so this must be like the national GM day. We got to hear from Terry Fontenot as well. What's good? So yeah, anybody, hey, I'll give you all the breaking news now. Our new GM is going to be, my goodness, this thing is so stuck right now. Not our new GM, our new defensive coordinator is Aaron Glenn. So there you go. Is it a good hire? I like him. Not my favorite, but I do like him. So I do have a video. I'll throw that out. Maybe I'll make a new video. I'm not sure. We'll see. We'll talk about that after this, though, because this is about to go live in a minute. So as we go, if it's too quiet or something, just be like, hey, turn the volume up. I got you, okay? All right? Y'all just let me know, man. Let's get this thing popping. Man, look how many people are watching this right now. 1,000 people. Hey, what if the Lions had 1,000 people watching something, man? When is that? I can't even go full screen? Oh, okay. Well, like I'm in the same room. Hey, there you go. What is up? Matthew Stafford. Who's Aaron Glenn? Aaron Glenn is currently, right now, well, he's going to be our DC. But Aaron Glenn is the secondary coach for the New Orleans Saints. All right? And we'll talk about him. Guys, stick with me, okay? Because as soon as this is done, I'm going to try to get a video out, okay? So just stick with me, man. I'll discuss him. I'll tell you all about him. And, was Glenn a DC? No, he wasn't, which is why I'm a little worried. I do like him aside from that, but that worries me a little bit. This thing should be popping off any second now. We got to come on, man. Let's get it. Let's go. Come on, man. I'm sorry. Hold up. Let me move the mic around. Aaron Glenn can help Okuda. I think he can. I really do. So here we go. Man. We'll talk about the DC. We'll talk about DC a little bit after. I'm kind of hoping they ask some questions about Matthew and see what he says. Like, let's see how straight up he is with us. Is he going to be straight up or not? Let's see. I like the DC. You know, there's a little couple of concerns I got, but y'all will know. The big concern is he's never been a DC, which scares me a little bit because we don't have a defense coordinator in mind. We don't have a defensive mind, so it scares me. But, all right, let's get to Brad. All right, Brad, what are we doing? Do I got to reload it? I'm going to reload it. Oh, snap. Did it start? Wait. That's Terry. Terry, what you doing? Yeah, close that. What is this? What do we do, Terry Fontenot? Come on, man. What the heck was that, yo? All right. I'm sorry. I'm just freaking out a little bit. I don't know why I went. Why did it go to that? Come on, man. All right. Oh, man. You want to wait? I did want to wait. I wanted to wait, but it's all right. I get why they did it. Yeah, I get it. Oh, man. The chat is popping. Wait is better. LMAO. Hit like. Help Kid Detroit. Hey, what's up, man? Where's Bevel going? I don't know, man. We haven't announced the OC yet. Hopefully he's going to Detroit. Huh? You know what I'm saying? Is this thing popping off or what? Is this thing going to pop off or what? Come on, man. You're making us wait. I can't. It's already late. Come on, man. Let's get it. Lions, come on. I can't even like adjust the volume until it starts, so that's kind of whack. We lit and I feel like Glenn is gonna be the next Corey. Okay, my thought. Okay, I hope not. Let's just say that with Corey, man, it's gonna be different because Corey was never the, he was the DC, but like this will be all his defense. Glenn, it'll be all his defense. That's the difference. So hopefully it works. I'm assuming he's gonna take a lot from oh gosh, I cannot think of his name now because I'm just so focused on this. From the DC with Saints, I can't think of his name. I have his name wrote down here. I can't remember. Y'all will see the video. What is the Lions doing? Come on, man. Their secondary wasn't good. Their secondary was pretty good last year. Last year's secondary ranked out one of the best in the league, actually. It was they allowed an 83 passer rating, less than 60% completion, under 3,500 yards. And yeah, their defense, their secondary last year was pretty darn good. And as a whole, they were second in DVOA. So that's good. But hopefully it's not. Dude, is this gonna start or what? Do I need to reload it or is my thing tripping? Like, what's going on, man? What's going on, man? Dennis Allen, thank you. Y'all ready for this or what? Hey, is this my fault? Should it be starting by now? I'm just gonna sit here and wait. I don't know if it's gonna start on its own or I need to refresh the page. I'm not sure. Bring one of them Saints safety. Hey, I mean, I'm saying, man, we lost Duran. Maybe bring in Malcolm Jenkins, huh? Maybe not. He would help Okuda. I'm thinking, man. I'm thinking that could be the case. I'm thinking it could. We'll talk about some of the guys he developed in my video, but I'm thinking it could. My boy say you gotta go take a whiz. Dang. All right. Well, hey, don't do that in your pants. All right. As long as you just hold it for a second. Just take the phone with you. What are you on your computer? We got Glenn. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Welcome to Detroit. You can't wait for this? I mean, hey, what are we waiting for right now? Is this everybody waiting for this? Guys, there's literally 2,000 people watching this stream. There's 160 of you in here. Shout out to y'all. It's on the Lions YouTube channel, but I'll try not to talk too much once it gets started. I'm going to try to keep kind of quiet. That way y'all can hear it, and then we'll talk about it a little bit afterwards, all right? I was actually kind of worried it wasn't going to start because I couldn't find it at first. And then I found it like, oh, snap. So I got to hurry. All right. What's going on? We just chilling, man. We just chilling, wait for this to start. I'm tempted to reload it, but then I don't want to. Man, this is like the Lions, bro. 4 minutes late. Come on, Detroit. Martha, Sheila. I said Martha. I'm sorry. Sorry, Martha. I didn't mean to call you out, Martha. Reunion with Slay. Hey, snap. They'll probably be fighting again, man. Shoot. They'll be fighting in the locker room. Detroit big time slacking. You got to go to like the homepage. Go to the homepage. You'll be able to find it easier. But if you can't find it, man, you can chill here with us, man. We're gonna watch it. Man. I won't talk. I'll be quiet. Don't worry. I'll be quiet. Let me turn the volume up a little bit actually before it gets started, just to be safe. Oh snap! Oh, come on! Why are you doing us with ads? Really right now? All right. Let me know the volume, y'all. Let me know the volume. What do we need? Let me know. Let me know the volume. My man.
You wanted the best? Well, here I am.
Why does she sound like that? All right. Let me know, guys. Does it sound good? If it sounds good, let me know. Hey, this is copyright. I should probably turn it off because it's copyrighted. It's good. Maybe louder. It's good. You want to go louder? I'll go louder. Let's see. We'll see when it starts. If it needs to be louder when it starts, I will. I'm gonna mute this for a second though. We don't need to hear the music. They gonna copyright the music. They copyright the music big time. I can make it louder though. There you go. It's gonna be even louder now. Yeah, they still play music. Woo! Come on, man. Let's get it. Hey, this is just, it's like Christmas, man. It's Christmas. All right, I just bumped it up. We should be good. I'm just muting the music. Where's the picture? They're just playing music right now. They always be tripping with this music. Come on, man. Come on, Lions. Let's get it. We getting that beat. We are getting that beat. I feel like that beat's big time, like, copyrighted, but who knows? How's Joseph Dad been? He's been good. He hasn't been over here very much, though, but he's been good. He's been in the chat a few times. Lions, come on, man. Come on, man. We are waiting for Brad. Okay, maybe he's, like, getting coffee. I don't know. Is this going to be a long stream?
$100 a month.
Lions,
Cable,
are you playing right now? Are you played 2 ads? How did that happen? All right. They ran an ad. They ran an ad. Are you... I think he's happy about Dan Campbell. I think so. He likes that he's like a motivator, so. Bro, come on, Lions. What we doing here, man? How they gonna run an ad? Are you for real? Y'all gonna run a second ad while we looking at this dude's face? Come on, bro. Get YouTube Premium. I probably should. You know, I do YouTube. I should probably get YouTube Premium. They need the revenue. You know, they probably do, man. Hey, COVID people struggling. I get it. Hey, I ain't mad at it. Look, I respect ads because I get they have a purpose, you know. And without them, you know, people may not make videos. But at the same time, bro, like, let's get this thing started. I don't care if y'all got ads. Just play the video. I'll watch all the ads you want. Just play. Come on. What? Man. Brad's working out a deal with LeBron. Oh, snap. Oh, that's the bold plan. Hey, LeBron, welcome to Detroit. Oh, snap. He's mad they lost to the Warriors last night. It's like $12. He's pulling up Patricia. Dang, that's messed up. That's messed up. They probably can't figure out how to start the stream. They probably like, oh, I gotta put the stream key in. Hey, Sheila Ford Ham. She's too old for this. Oh. Sheila Ford Ham don't know how to do this, man. Come on, Lions. It looks like everybody's hyping the chat, though. I don't see anybody that's not super hype. Take it too long to rebuild. They rebuild it right now. Yo, hey, what if they do like something cool? I don't know what I'm hoping for. He's just gonna be sitting there. He's gonna be sitting there in someone's house. He drink coffee or something. Brad Holmes is stuck in traffic. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I just got the noti, man. Hey, the video's coming up soon, y'all. Everybody that's asked about the DC video's coming soon. I was working on one. I'm kind of glad it didn't go out. See, look. Things happen for a reason. Kind of glad I didn't get it out in time. But he will be our guy. Ooh, I don't know, man. DL coach, that's tough. I got to look at those. Wings could have came back yesterday. Oh, dang, they lost. How tall is Brad Holmes? Shoot. From that picture, from that angle, I give him a solid 6'3", man. Maybe 6'4". He looks like a big dude. He looks like a tall dude. Not like super skinny, but he looks like a tall dude. So he kind of looks like, I don't know, like he could, maybe not a basketball player, maybe like a big safety or something. Oh my gosh. Come on, Lions. What we doing, bro? We 10 minutes late for real? All right. Martha's makeup. Snap. How tall is over under 6'4"? Dang, I'd probably go over, honestly. I'd probably go over that. Brad Holmes fired. Hey, Matt. Sheila Ford pops on. He's fired. Yo, imagine that. Hold up. Oh, my gosh. He looks 6'5". He looks like a big dude. Look at his head's coming out of the box, so you know he's tall. What position do you think Brad Holmes can focus on? That's a good question. Now that we got our DC, man, I think we might go with a pass rushing DT. You know, I could see it. I could see a pass rushing DT. If we go to the 4-3, like they were.
Everybody. So before I formally welcome Brad Holmes to the Lions organization and introduce him to you as our new general manager, I want to tell you a bit about our process and how we came to have the unanimous conclusion that Brad was our guy. When I say we, I mean the group who conducted all the interviews. The group was Rod Wood, Chris Spielman, Mike Disner, and myself. I can't thank Chris and Mike enough. They were the football experts whose perspective and insight were invaluable. Rod, as our team president, added a tremendous amount of value and perspective, drawing on his deep and widespread network of relationships throughout the NFL. And I'd also like to thank our group of advisors. Barry Sanders, Rod Graves, and Mark Hollis, who assisted with our search and provided valuable counsel throughout the whole process. Within our group of 4, I, of course, had the steepest learning curve of all of us, but we bonded as a group in a very collaborative way, and the whole process was extremely thorough and comprehensive. After each interview, we debriefed as a group and ranked our latest prospect. Everybody was involved. Even before we began the process, we met several times to determine the significant characteristics that we were looking for in a general manager. Obviously, football expertise and a proven nose for talent were givens. But beyond that, we were looking for a natural leader, an engaging communicator, and someone who could help us lead a culture shift for the entire Lions organization. We want to create a culture here where everyone involved with the Lions knows that they are a Detroit Lion, all an integral part of the same team, all working together to create a winning team and a winning organization. We interviewed 12 general manager candidates. All of them were very talented, impressive, and qualified individuals. But when we interviewed Brad, he stood out to us as the perfect fit for the general manager we were looking for. His leadership qualities were evident. So was his intelligence, his engaging personality, and his collaborative and confident approach to team building. His embrace of the fusion of analytics and scouting intuition in his approach to drafting blew us all away. He was our unanimous choice. We all had the same gut instinct. Brad Holmes is a winner, and I am beyond delighted to introduce him as our next general manager. But before Brad can speak for himself, I want to turn things over to Rod Wood, our president, for his comments about Brad. Rod?
All right, thanks, Sheila. And I just want to echo Sheila's comments about the whole process and thank Mike and Chris. It was an awesome process. Very deep, very thorough, and I think it resulted in the right person for the job. I'm sure you all have some interest in the other search that we have ongoing, our head coaching search. We're not going to take any questions or make comments on that today out of the respect of the process. I want today to be about Brad Holmes, our new general manager. Before I talk about Brad and the process a little bit more, I also want to make an announcement that Mike Disner will be taking on some additional management responsibilities over some of our football operations and administration, which will free up Brad to work with our new head coach and focus on player acquisition, development, and building a great team and roster for the Detroit Lions. Sheila mentioned how we invested in developing criteria for the search, and I want to read a few of these very specific criteria to you. I know we've talked about it before, Sheila alluded to it, but we all had this on a piece of paper, and as she mentioned, we were grading people against these criteria, and I want to read a few to you that Brad stood out amongst. Culture builder, being open, inclusive, supportive, engaging, an exceptional listener, and an excellent communicator. The ability to lead a diverse team, many of whom work on the road, and certainly Brad can relate to this, and outside of the building on a regular basis. Someone with excellent self-awareness, acknowledging what they don't know and building a team around them to cover their weaknesses. Working with our head coach as a partner in a positive and productive relationship. And most importantly, maybe for the general manager, the ability to balance the team needs of today and the team needs of the future, and be a steward for the long-term success of our organization. Against those criteria, I can tell you that Brad blew away the competition and stood out, which is part of the reason he's here today. In addition to how well he did in the interviews, we talked extensively to others about him. I spent a lot of time on the phone with Kevin Demoff, the Chief Operating Officer of the Rams, Les Snead, the General Manager of the Rams, and Chris had a long conversation with Coach McVay. All gave outstanding recommendations about Brad and said we would be lucky to have him. We're so excited to have him here today to introduce him as our new general manager. But before Brad takes the podium, Sheila and I will take a few questions, and we're going to turn it over to Brad.
All right, Mike O'Hara, first question.
Well, Sheila, I think you answered about 85% of my question already, but I'll try and find some room in here. Also, we talked to Brad the other day, Tim and I, and he said something at the end of the interviews and all that. He said, this just feels right. Just from your standpoint, what was it about him that just felt right that you had the right guy here?
Well, I mean, really, everything about Brad, as they say, stood out to us. You know, we had this process, which really was amazing. And the more we did it, I think the better we got at it, and the better we got at evaluating people. And so, you know, when we would have our debrief at the end of each interview, you know, we would all say what we thought, and then, someone might say something semi-critical or something about somebody, and we discuss it, whatever. When we finished with Brad, I think I went first that time, and all I said was, wow, just wow. He just was everything we were looking for. And, as I said, extremely intelligent, amazing communicator, collaborative, the way he described how he goes about his job, he hit on all fronts. So I think he was our only unanimous right off the bat discussion. It was great. So wait till you have a chance to talk to him. You'll see what I'm saying. Let him speak for himself.
Tim Twentyman.
Yeah, this is for Mrs. Hamp and Rod. Mrs. Hamp, you talked about it right there in your opening statement about just, some of the technology and analytics stuff. And I know, Rod, in your statement when Brad was hired, you talked about the analytics and the technology. I'm just curious, what was it about Brad that stood out when the topic of roster building and evaluation came up?
You want to take that one, Rod? I'll fill in.
No. Well, thanks, Tim. Everybody scouts somewhat similarly, and we interviewed some great candidates from some great organizations. Obviously, some people have perfected it better than others. I think the one thing that Brad brought from what the Rams do is the use of analytics to really hone in on the players that you can predict will fit your roster and make an impact on your team. And obviously there's the scouting of players through, watching them in person and watching them on tape, but then taking all this data that's out there and figuring out, if somebody runs a 40 at X speed and has arm length of this and, a 3-cone of that, they're likely to be a good player, or they're likely not to be a good player. And they've taken it to a whole new level. And Brad would probably be better to answer it than I am, but it was impressive and it was different. And I think it's cutting edge.
Mm-hmm. I was just going to say that. Definitely cutting edge, definitely different from, I think, pretty much what we've been doing here. So Brad's going to bring a lot of new ideas and, and as I said, yes, the analytics are fabulous, and he always says, get as much information as possible. But then there's the intuitive part of it too, and he's got that as well.
So Justin Rogers.
Hey guys, thanks for taking the time. Was looking for, I guess, some clarity on the structure with Disner, with Brad, with Rod. How do you see the front office setting up? Even though I'm sure it's still, and Chris too, and I guess it's probably still being sorted out. But how do you see the structure working out? Will Brad have final say on all roster decisions?
You want me to take that one, Sheila?
Sure.
Yeah. So Justin, Brad and our new head coach will be collaborating on the 53-man roster. They're each going to have input. As we talked about, we want a culture where everybody's working together, and I think that will work fine once we have our new head coach in place. Mike will be doing all the things he has been doing, just picking up some of the in-house football administration stuff so Brad can focus on finding players. Both Mike and Brad and our new head coach will report directly to Sheila and me. There won't be a structure where there's layers between any of them and Sheila and me.
And then you mentioned Chris too, who...
Oh yeah, Chris.
Yeah.
And Chris is an advisor to the two of us. He's been instrumental in this whole process. Obviously, now that we've got, hopefully, the search is almost behind us, Chris will be engaged in helping everybody throughout the organization, not just the football side, but even on the business side, and helping bring in new sponsors, working with our folks at Ford Field. No direct management responsibility, but a wide range of areas that he's going to be helpful in.
And it was great having Chris on the interview process. I mean, he was obviously wonderful on many respects, but also, so all the potential candidates saw Chris, knew what he was about. We actually would open the interviews with kind of explaining Chris's role, so there was no confusion. And, Chris describes himself as a servant, which that's, kind of how he sees himself, as helping everybody. And he will help Brad, he'll help the new coach, he'll be great to Rod and me and the whole organization. So he's just, it's part of the team. We're all part of the team.
And just quickly to clarify, the way it is reported up to you and Sheila, are the two of you, that is similar to the way it was with the previous regime, correct?
Similar, although under the structure before, both Mike and Matt technically reported to Bob. So this is a slight tweak there.
Thank you, Rod.
Yep.
And Sheila.
Oh, Kyle Meinke next.
Hey guys, thanks a lot for your time today. Just to follow up real quickly on Justin's question, because I'm not sure if I heard a definitive answer. Who's going to have the final say on the roster construction?
I'll answer the same way how the head coach and the general manager are going to collaborate on it. Yep.
Okay. And then just real quickly from me, we've seen a lot of reports out there about you guys touting the technology end of it and Brad bringing in some advancements there. Can you speak specifically to any kind of advancements you're looking at in that regard with Brad?
Maybe I'll let Brad speak to that as opposed to me trying to dabble in something I'm not an expert in. But there's one thing, maybe you could talk about it, Brad, when you come up with the road scouts that we already talked about this morning, and then there'll be some other things, I'm sure, as well.
Yeah, I think you'll be impressed.
Yes.
Chris Burke.
Hey, thank you for the time. I know you said that the two searches were they obviously were happening simultaneously, the coach and the GM search. I was just curious if Brad had any say in as this coach search got to the end of the line here, if you let him have any say in that, or if you bounced ideas off him during the interview process, just how involved he was, or if they were kept separately the whole time.
Jill, you want to?
All right. I'll start. You finish this time. This is what we did in our interview. So, but yeah. So yes, they were simultaneous. We started with GM interviews way back when, before the season was over, because we could interview people that were either not employed or in other fields at the moment. But in every interview, we would ask the general manager, if you would be. But in every interview, we would ask the general manager, if you would become our general manager, would you have a coach in mind? And so when we got to Brad, we asked that question, and there was usually a list. It was interesting because there were usually lots of overlaps, and so as we were getting down to the end of our coaching search, we hired Brad. We've had him talk to some candidates, and I think it's all going to be very good. You want to take a step farther, Rod?
No, I think that's fair. I mean, we, as Sheila said, and vice versa, when we were interviewing head coaches, we would ask them about general manager candidates and who they could see themselves working with. And there was substantial overlap between what the coaches said and what the general manager candidate said. And it was a little odd, maybe doing both at the same time, but I think it also turned out to be very productive and a wide net and a lot of overlap. And as Sheila said, as we got near the end, we put Brad into the process. And so when the head coach is announced, it's going to be with Brad's awareness and support.
Thank you.
We're going to go two more, Michael Rothstein, then Larry Lage.
Hi, thank you all for doing this. When Sheila, I think when you last spoke back in November, experience seemed to be something that came up a lot when Rod spoke and when you spoke. What did you maybe see from Brad that made experience not as much of a factor in this decision and in potentially the head coaching decision that's going to be coming up soon?
Okay, well, in the case of Brad, I think we kind of decided that we wouldn't have probably both positions be complete rookies, but so in the case of Brad, he so blew us all away, honestly, Mike. I mean, it's like, it was amazing. And so actually, I don't know if you know the story of how we even got Brad's name, but this is pretty interesting. So the NFL has these films you can look at. It's through the, and see pre-interviews or sort of interviews with a sort of a disembodied voice asking questions and people answering. And so honestly, Brad wasn't even on our initial list of candidates. And Mike Disner, who did a lot of homework and a lot of research in this process for us, came across this interview of Brad's, and he went in at Rod's office and said, "You have to come in here and see this. Just watch for 5 or 10 minutes, and you're going to go crazy." And so Rod did, and he goes, "Oh my gosh, we got to interview this guy." And then when we did, he just really, literally blew us all away. I mean, we had some terrific other people that we could have gotten and probably said they were very good, but Brad just struck us as head and shoulders above.
And Michael, I would just add to that. I think when you're trying to hire somebody for these types of positions, obviously experience would be valuable, but you're also trying to project what they might become. And in that case, I think Brad blew us away. And I'm a very big first impression person. And usually within 2 or 3 minutes of every interview, I'd write a quick note to myself of what was my first impression. And my first impression of Brad was, this is the guy.
Mm-hmm. No, and I think Mike Disner said, "I quit taking notes," because he was the guy. So anyway, it was pretty great.
Thank you all. I appreciate it.
All right. Last one for Sheila and Rod. Larry?
Good afternoon, Sheila. Your family has been through this many times. First time for you. What gives you the most faith that you are all getting this right? And what would you say to fans who said, yeah, whether it's the draft or the day the GM or coach is hired, everybody loves it when we got our guy. What gives you the most faith, and what do you think fans will have faith in this decision?
Okay, well, I think what gives me the most faith is the process we went through. I mean, it was very thorough. There were 4 of us, as I said in the beginning. We all came from it with different perspectives, different areas that we were looking at, and the fact that we interviewed 12 general manager candidates, and all the interviews were several hours. So they were thorough. And we actually had questions ahead of time that we made up so that, we didn't sit there and just fire out questions. We had more of a conversation, but we made sure that everything was covered, that we'd want to be covered in the conversation. And I think just the thoroughness and the fact that there were 4 of us and, 2 real football people in on this interview process with Chris and Mike, I think that's what gives me the confidence that we've got this right.
Okay, thank you both. We're going to bring up Brad now for some opening comments, and then we'll get into questions.
Right. Yo, come on, Lions. What we doing? All right. We gotta wait a second. They went back to the music, man. Here we go.
Before my second interview, I hadn't been to the Allen Park facility since I interviewed here to be a PR intern, actually. And this is right before I ended up being a Rams PR intern. So it's really funny how everything became when it got full circle. But first off, I want to thank Sheila Ford Hamp and the entire Ford family. I want to thank Rod Wood, Chris Spielman, and Mike Disner. You can prepare all you want for these jobs, and it was my first time coming into it. And the biggest advice that I received is that in terms of the interview process is that they're all different. And this process, and specifically to the first interview, is not truly knowing what to expect going in, and obviously had some nerves running and, didn't know what to expect. But in that first interview, the nerves quickly went away. And it really was Miss Hamp. And she had such an immediate positive impact on me so early on that I got off that interview and I told my wife I wasn't expecting that. And the reason why I say that is it literally started off as a virtual Zoom process. But by the end, it felt like we were sitting by a fireplace or a campfire, just getting to know each other. And, you know, sometimes you just get that feeling that when you know something is right, it just feels right. Well, Miss Hamp just had an incredible soul that I was really able to connect with, and just the whole process was A1, first class. Couldn't be more excited. And the dialogue with Rod Wood had been excellent. The rapport I had with Chris Spielman, Mike Disner throughout the process was extremely genuine, extremely natural, and I couldn't be more excited to work with a group like this. When I first spoke to Chris Spielman, I almost was thinking like he was so wanting to help, and this is before the first, you know, just trying to reach out. I thought it was a setup. Like, I was like, is he trying to set me up before the first? But truly just the more we spoke, he just has a heart of gold, and his sole purpose is to make the Lions better. And, you know, Sheila couldn't have said any better. He truly embraces that servant role, and for that, I'm very, very thankful, and thank you so much. I want to thank my family, my lovely wife, Lisa. I'm sure she's watching. My son, BJ, and our daughter, Lola, who turns the big 5 months tomorrow. You know, the love and support they provide, I can't put it into words. To put it blatantly, without them, I wouldn't be up here speaking with you guys today. So thank you so much. I'm a at North Carolina A&T State University, Aggie Pride. My mom, Joan, Dr. Holmes, as many call her. Just so much love and sacrifice in my upbringing, along with my older sister, Tara. And my mom always preached education relentlessly and always showed strong work ethic, working late nights. And my dad, Melvin Holmes, who played in the NFL for the Pittsburgh Steelers, but he never really pushed football on me. He always raised me in a football environment, but he waited for me to ask him to play football. So I thought that was really cool and very, very impactful in my upbringing. And staying on family, I have to thank my uncle, Luther Bradley. Now, just bear with me. It feels very weird to say Luther Bradley because I've called him my Uncle Ruff ever since I was born. Actually, strange because that was my grandfather's name, Luther Bradley, and that was his father. And we didn't even call my grandfather Luther Bradley. We called him Big Daddy. So for me to say Luther Bradley sounds, so if you guys hear me say Uncle Ruff, just know that I'm referencing Luther Bradley. But my Uncle Ruff, all-time leading interception leader at Notre Dame school history, first-round pick for the Lions in '78. And me as a baby and as a young child, we spent many holidays here in Detroit. You know, he was out there in that Sherwood Forest community, and growing up, my Uncle Ruff, well, Luther, that's when he opened my eyes to Lions football. And just the tradition and the history that's deep-rooted, that he always had so much pride for and so much obsession for. And he's still active and player alumni and in the community. And I want to thank him for all his support he has provided me throughout this process. I think he's enjoying it more than me, actually, to get this job. And I'm sure he'll tell you that he can cover any USC wide receiver still to this day. That's just how he is. But I want to thank the Los Angeles Rams, Stan Kroenke, Kevin Demoff, Les Snead, Sean McVay, Tony Pastores, and the late Georgia Frontier. You know, I spent 18 years with the Rams and was basically raised in that franchise. Always been a first-class organization and can't thank them enough for everything that they've done for me and my family. Throughout that time with the Rams, I served under a few different GMs. My first one was Charlie Army. He gave me my first shot in scouting. And he taught me the foundation of player evaluation. Billy Devaney, you know, he gave me a shot to really take on that tough job of scouting down in the Southeast. And he taught me the importance of having conviction in your beliefs. And Les Snead, can't say enough great things about him. Obviously had learned under him the longest. And I want to stress the word learn. He taught me so much. But one of the biggest things is he kept teaching me how to keep the main thing. It's football. And he also taught me how to be concise. So I won't rattle off every single thing he taught me, but he invested very heavily in my development, and I'm very grateful for all he's done for me. Thank you. I would be remiss if I didn't thank Wilbert Montgomery. He was the first person to introduce me to Charlie Army, and he just saw a young kid fresh out of college that had a high passion for football, and we immediately formed a great relationship and just took off ever since. So thank you so much, Wilbert. So many others to thank. You know, I'm not a believer in that phrase, self-made, because I think that at any level of success that anybody gets, at some point, somebody helped you along the way at some point, no matter how big or small. For those others that haven't received a reply from me, I'm working on the 500 text messages. I will get to them, I promise you, but through all the text messages and through all the calls, I can truly say that appreciate the love and support through all of it. In terms of the purpose and the vision here, it's not complicated. You know, it'll be through a collaborative approach. We will be complicated. You know, it'll be through a collaborative approach. We will build a winning and inspired culture to serve the best football product to this great city of Detroit so we can compete for championships on a consistent basis. And I stress the word serve. I know the general manager position, it's a lot of different responsibilities, but I truly believe that it is a service role. And with that vision, anybody that been to another introductory press conferences, you're probably saying, I've heard it all before. I've heard this before, but I will say this. There will be no ego in this process. There will be no ego in the culture. And everything is about the team. Bottom line, everything is about the team. We will be extremely collaborative, very intentional, and thorough and diligent in our process to truly earn it. And we will be inspired in our process. We will be aggressively smart, and we will embrace rapid evolution. Through all of this, we will keep laser focused on the main thing, and that's improving football and to serve a championship to the city of Detroit and this passionate fan base. One pride deserves that. Thank you so much, and without any further ado, I'll take any questions.
All right, Mike O'Hara, DetroitLions.com.
Okay, Brad, by the way, I'm 5 blocks from Luther's old house before he moved to the suburbs. Just wondering, what are some of the first things you're going to get down to do now in your job now as general manager? What do you have to accomplish, right? It's roster stuff and all that. I know there's a big decision. People are going to ask you about that, about Matthew Stafford.
Yeah, Mike, that's a great question. So first and foremost, once the head coach is on board, definitely want to make sure that we meet and basically continually to work to get on the same page and be aligned. Obviously, the evaluation of the total roster is extreme importance. So, you know, really looking forward to making sure that myself and when the head coach is in place, that we have take a full deep dive, very thorough process in the evaluation of the roster and make sure that we're on the same page as we approach these upcoming phases with free agency and the draft.
Tim Twentyman, DetroitLions.com.
Hey, Brad, good to see you again.
Thanks, Tim.
Hey, just your opinion on Matthew Stafford and the future of maybe that quarterback position here in Detroit.
Yeah, great question. So Matthew, great player. And what you really appreciate is, I think the talent level is easy to see, but you'll really appreciate how his intangibles show on film. Just how urgent he plays, how competitive he is, the toughness that he shows. But it is my job to evaluate the entire roster. And through that process, you know, I have not had any discussions with Matt or any players for that matter. So, you know, I just want to be fair to the process and make sure that we evaluate that thoroughly. But, you know, obviously,
Aloha from Hawaii, call me hand, medium skin tone, call me hand, medium skin tone, blue heart, hashtag one pride.
But just how you implement that, how important it is to you, and why that's important in the process now.
Yeah. So, Tim, I've always said that technology is truly an accelerator. And I think it's only important, it's very critical to utilize the technology as the accelerator that it truly is. And there's so many different avenues in so many different areas in scouting and personnel where the use and acceleration of technology can be utilized in a very critical way. And it can be even down to just making sure that everybody that's connected, that are even outside of the building, that are on the road, let's make sure that this technology is being utilized properly and efficiently and in the right way to make sure that that's all connected. You know, it goes from the college side to the pro side, the use of analytics, the use of, you know, the evaluation process, how you communicate. That's probably one of the biggest in terms of the use of technology. But definitely there's a lot of different avenues, a lot of different products out there. But something that the Rams utilized heavily that, you know, showed me and opened my eyes to a lot of different things, and very much appreciative of that. And so those are some of the things that I would bring to the lines.
Justin Rogers, Detroit News.
Hey, Brad, welcome to Detroit.
Thanks, Justin. How you doing?
I'm doing well. I've got a couple quick ones for you. First, just given the depth of your college background, how important is it for you to get a supplement to your front office on the pro side, or is your confidence in the pro evaluation strong enough, do you think?
Yeah, that's a great question, Justin. Well, first of all, let me say this. One of the great things that Les did with the Rams is everybody had these different roles, different titles, you know. Got your director of college scouting, your director of pro scouting, you know, you got your assistant director of college. But what he did that I thought was very, very critical and really paid dividends is that he treated us all as one group. Basically, he's often referred to us as a basketball team. And if you know Les Snead, you know, that's one of kind of an analogy that he'd make. But he basically had us involved in the decision-making process on both fronts, whether it's pro and college. So that experience alone, you know, really bode well for me. And the other part of your question, Justin, is I think it's very important, and this is what I'll do, is to make sure that it is a blended staff of experience, you know, that is balanced with, you know, people that have pro and college experience. So that's my approach, and, you know, that's how I feel in the experience from that.
And I want to quickly ask you about intangibles, because I've read the emphasis and importance you put on that in the college evaluation. You just mentioned it in your quick Stafford evaluation. Every guy in a decision-making role is looking for a guy that loves football. What is I guess the technique you've developed in evaluating guys on that intangible level?
Yeah, it's a great question. Very important to me. I think the intangibles are the separator of success at this level. And I think it's very important from my background and my experience up to this point with the Rams. We always made an emphasis on investing in high intangible football players. And you pointed out one thing, Justin, that means a lot to me. It's probably the most important, is passion. And that is one intangible piece that I don't have any room for. I don't have any margin for error in. That's one piece, is passion for football is extremely important, probably the utmost importance when it comes to intangibles. So that's something that I actually explained to Rod and Sheila during the interview process, is that something that I just won't budge on when it comes to passion for football. So something that we had a lot of success with, or with the Rams had a lot of success, and something that would be an important piece that we'll have here at the Lions.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Kyle Meinke, MLive.
Hey, Brad, welcome to Motor City.
Thanks, Kyle. How you doing?
Doing well, man. Doing well. You didn't finish that story, I don't think. Were you offered the PR job with the Lions?
Yeah. So long story that actually came in, was offered the job. I had interviewed with the Rams and was offered both, and had to make the tough choice to select the Rams. But definitely no slight. But I did come in the building with my head down a little bit, making sure that nobody was looking for me. But yeah, it all worked out.
Fair enough. One more question for you from me. There's been some debate in Detroit whether this is more of a reboot and get ready to go next year and compete for a championship, or more of a long-term kind of rebuild. I know you're in the early stages of this thing and you have a lot of hires to make and moving parts before you really get going. But I'm just curious at the outset what your vision is for this team, particularly up front, this year, or, do you think it's more of a long-term rebuild?
Yeah, that's good. That's a fair question. So, definitely, I think when you get into the offseason, I think every franchise, every team will look at the areas that they might need some, let's say, retooling at, and just areas that need to be addressed. But the ultimate goal is to make sure that the most competitive team is on the field, and that starts right this year in entering the 2021 season. So not viewing this as, oh, this will be a long term. I don't know how long it's going to take. That's not the approach. That's not the mindset going into it. The approach is to make sure that we can put the most competitive team possible out there on the field in 2021.
Chris Burke, The Athletic.
Hey, Brad, congratulations.
Thanks, Chris. How you doing?
I'm doing all right, thanks. Kind of a follow-up on that, I guess. Just curious, sort of a two-parter. How much of what you've done on this draft class can you carry over into this role? And then just knowing how shortened this schedule is going to be for you and how much of a time crunch you're probably going to be in, is it realistic to implement all the things you want to implement in the next 2 or 3 months? Or is this going to be, by next year, you'll have all the process in place?
Yeah, that's it's funny you asked that, Chris, because I was thinking, I said, can you get every single thing done? And I don't know why that quote, if Rome wasn't built in a day, or it wasn't built in a day, or whatever, I'm probably going to get some flack for that if I didn't quote that properly. But to the college draft part and the very I say the advantageous part of what my role is and what our process has been with the Rams before I took this job is that I'm very well versed in the college draft for this year's draft class in 2021. So I actually thought that was something that actually helped me coming into it, to have been pretty much have seen a good majority, if not all of the draft class coming up this year. And I do think that because that we're going to have a very dynamic, process-driven approach, I do think that you might not get every single I dotted and T crossed that you really want to have in before the draft, but the intent going into it is make sure that we can get as much ground covered as possible going into it.
Michael Rothstein, ESPN.
Hey, Brad, congratulations.
Thanks, Michael.
Got 2 questions for you. First, it had been reported that part of what you had sold to Sheila and Rod was a bold plan. I'm just curious to you what the first part of that bold plan is.
Well, I'd say bold plan. I know that let's date back to my time with the Rams. There was a lot of what was deemed as bold moves that I was very fortunate enough to be a part of. And often when those moves occur, you really you want to see the outcome. What was the actual result? I can't say that in respect to my time with the Rams that all those quote unquote bold moves, it was truly a result from what the process was. And so every single thing is going to be process driven in terms of adhere to a very dynamic, sound process. And as Les Snead says it all the time, you can surrender your results to that process. And so that will be, not saying specifically, what the plan will be, but the approach in terms of having a very, very sound process, then you can get some bold results coming from that.
And then my second question is, to get to that point, what changes do you feel you need to make right away to accelerate this process?
I think I would go back to sticking to the process that I do have planned and the process that I will have in place. There's really not one specific item or area that's like it has to be changed right now. I just have a lot of confidence in the plan and the process that we'll have in place. And so if we stay disciplined in that approach to that process, then we should get the necessary results that we desire.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Larry Lage, Associated Press.
Hey, Brad, first of all, I like your haircut.
Great minds think alike, Larry.
That's right. Did any other team reach out to interview you for a GM job this offseason, or have they ever in the past? And when you were a PR intern, did you ever dream of landing a job like this? And have you had any kind of pinch me moments? Sorry to squeeze a few in there, but.
Well, the first one, if I had any other team, so this was my first interview circuit, if you could classify it as that. But I did have two teams that I did interview with, both here in Detroit and the Falcons. But, just the pinch me moment probably did come exactly when I came in the building for my second interview. Because, again, like I said in the opening, I had not been in this building since I interviewed for that PR internship. And that's when I just, walking in here then, that was like 18, almost 19 years ago, and then coming back here now as the general manager, that was definitely, if you would, I like the way you put it, a pinch me moment where it really just sunk in of like the wow. And it really was a surreal feeling and couldn't be more excited about it.
Was this ever a dream job for you? I mean, when you started working in the NFL, did you say like someday I want to be a general manager of one of these teams, or what was your goal?
Yeah. So great question. Back in the 8th grade, I actually, I was in junior high school, and my parents kind of lived close to the school. And I'll put it frankly, I skipped school to watch the draft. And I knew the draft was coming on TV, and it was the 93 draft. And I knew it was coming on ESPN. I skipped school, and I went home when my parents were gone at work, and I watched the draft. And that moment, I just got enamored with the process of scouting. That's when I fell in love with scouting. They were talking about, I remember they were showing, I believe it was Jerome Bettis just running the ball, and they were describing the traits and showing the highlights, and they're showing the general manager, and they're showing the coach. And I just fell in love with the process up until then. And I always told myself back then that regardless of what happens, I want to say it was like even my senior year of high school, I was watching the 97 draft. And me and my buddy, we were sitting at a fast food McDonald's restaurant and just having some cheeseburgers. And I said, we had just got done watching the draft. And I said, I don't know what's going to happen with my football career. I knew I was going to college to play football, but I knew that I was going to definitely get into scouting at some point. And just the GM job specifically, when I got into scouting, I never really looked ahead. I was just so happy to be in the industry of scouting, is that when I was a scouting assistant, I just wanted to be the best scouting assistant. And when I was an area scout, I just wanted to be the best area scout. And, all the way up until, obviously being in the director of college scouting role, I was truly just trying to be the best college director in the entire league. And so obviously when I kind of was learning about, potential opportunities, to potentially interview for a GM job, that's when you got to start preparing and all that. And that actually felt different to me because I was always so laser focused on what my job was at hand never looking ahead. And I really just wanted just to dominate my role that I was in. So to answer your question, I know it's kind of a, branched off answer, but I really didn't say back then that I want to be a general manager. I fell in love with scouting. And then as I worked my way up, I just focused on dominating my role at every step.
Corey Woods, Woodward Sports.
Hey, Brad, how you doing? Welcome to Detroit.
Thanks, Corey. How you doing?
Pretty good. Sorry about that. I had you on mute. I have a question. So the discrepancy between Pro Bowlers and All-Pro athletes of the Rams and the Lions is pretty large. What will be your approach of bringing that type of talent to Detroit?
Yeah, that's a great question, Corey. So, I'll start with what I was saying earlier about, how important the intangible aspect is. And, we always talk about, let's invest in reliability and let's invest in reliable players. And obviously, we're not overlooking talent. A baseline of talent is very necessary. It is the NFL. We're not overlooking talent. A baseline of talent is very necessary. It is the NFL. But I truly believe that the separator of success is those players that do have those high intangible traits. And so that's a model that was used with the Rams that obviously bode for a lot of draft success. And, that same approach will definitely be carried over here with the Lions.
John Macaron, SI.
Brad, congratulations. Welcome to Detroit.
Thank you, John. How you doing?
Very well. I do have two questions for you. You did bring up Detroit's large and passionate fan base, but I'm wondering, there's also a growing and large portion of the fan base that's becoming more skeptical regarding Detroit's opportunities to get back to the postseason. What message do you have to fans who are skeptical in the process regarding Detroit's history, since the organization has only had one playoff win in decades?
Yeah, and when you say process in terms of the player personnel, player acquisition process, or
just the process of building this organization to where it needs to go.
Well, I would definitely tell all Lions fans, just as you say process, I'd say let's all trust the process that's going to be in place. It will be a very sound process. It will be a very thorough and diligent process. And we're going to, like I said earlier, we're going to surrender those results to the process. And I've always been one that likes to go through the process, but tries to delay my intuition towards the end. So if we keep the process sound and then we make the right gut intuitive decisions going forward, I believe that the Lions fan base are going to be very, very happy with the results that they see. I'm so excited about how passionate, my Uncle Ruff, Luther, he used to always educate me, and all the way up through this process and the interview process, about this Lions fan base. And he says that, they've been through ups, they've been through downs, but they're showing up every week in and week out. They're showing up and packing that house in. When he told me that, I was so excited. He just kept getting me even more excited. I said, wow, if we can deliver a winner here to this great city of Detroit, because the thing about not only passionate fan base, but you always hear Detroit as, blue collar, working class. But the more intel that I gathered on this great city is that it just seems like a city of character. It just has great character. And so on top of those other great things, I think that characteristic of having great character is something that I really, really am excited about.
Yeah, my second question, if you recall, in 2017, Sean McVay got the process off pretty well in his first season, went 11-5 after a 4-win season. What lesson from that season can you potentially pass on to Detroit's first-year head coach to maybe get the ball rolling a little bit faster?
Yeah, so that's a great question. When Sean first came on board in 2017, I'm sure, as you probably have heard, the theme was "We, Not Me." And that really permeated through the entire organization. And it was such a collaborative approach with everybody involved. And it wasn't just coaching and scouting. It was coaching, scouting, player development, athletic performance. I mean, everything was such a collaborative approach that truly was a big, let's say, a big ingredient for the recipe of success that we had in that quick turnaround that we had.
All right, we have time for five. Sorry about that. We have time for 5 more questions, one each. Mike Stone, 97.1.
How you doing, Brad? Congratulations. First of all, it's okay to use rebuild in this city. The fans are used to it. Our other 3 teams are all going through rebuilds. It's okay. That being said, how do you rebuild the defense? Because as you know, it was pretty poor especially last year. Is it the talent or is it the scheme, or because that defense was horrific?
Yeah, well, please don't get mad at me, Mike, if I don't use the word rebuild, if I just continue to pivot towards retool. But I do think that there are some building blocks on this defense currently. Obviously, we will address that side of the ball just like we'll address the offensive side of the ball. You know, there's no area that we won't work to improve in. But I do think that there are some good, young, talented pieces that are still in their phase of developing. I do think that there's some veterans that have brought good production to the table. So I would definitely say going to retool in some areas, but there are some building blocks there.
Carlos Menares, Detroit Free Press.
Yeah, Brad, having worked primarily outside of the building, how do you go about, or what gives you the confidence to build a culture within the building, with the players, with the staff, with everybody?
That's a great question. So, you know, when I started with the Rams in St. Louis, I was inside that building for close to a decade. And within that time, I was able to learn how everything worked. Was able to learn how the pro side worked, how the college side worked, how the football operations work. I was very fortunate within my role, especially at the early stages, is I did a lot of work with the coaching staff. And through that time, I really got a very good appreciation and understanding of how everything operated from entire football operation standpoint. And even since the team relocated to LA and I was in Atlanta, I spent a extraordinary long amounts of time in LA, all the way to the point where I almost qualified for residency out there in California. And it really, critical times too, long amounts of times as we're ramping up for postseason play, long amount of times as we're getting ready for free agency in that building, for long extended amounts of times as we're getting ready for the combine, and then obviously through the entire draft process. So that's the part that I feel very confident in terms of my experience that I've spent inside the building, both not only in St. Louis, but also in Los Angeles.
Jamie Edmonds, WDIV.
I wasn't expecting to go now, so nice to meet you. Welcome to Detroit.
Nice to meet you, Jamie. Thank you.
I wanted to ask you about, there's not a lot of diversity within the NFL front offices. Detroit has had Martin Mayhew and now yourself, and that is something very positive for this organization in my point of view. What do you think of that?
Well, that's a great question. Glad you asked it. And it's something that's very important to me. I'll take you back to, like I was saying, that my dad played for the Pittsburgh Steelers, and he was an offensive lineman. And it was in the late 60s, early 70s, where he shared with me, even at a young age, you know, when he got done playing, obviously, was that he shared with me the experiences of his struggles that he had to go through in different, let's say, stereotypes regarding race, because he was a black offensive lineman. And he told me about, he kind of related it to offensive linemen or quarterbacks. He says, you know, when I was playing, you know, people didn't think that, you know, black should be on the offensive line or at the QB position. And then even up to right before I got married, we had to go through this premarital counseling through my wife's church. And they told us to make vision boards. And I'd never heard what a vision board was ever. So they explained it to me, and me and my wife had to make one. And part of my vision board was, it was a cutout of Ozzie Newsome hoisting the Super Bowl trophy. And that was a symbolism of hope for me at the time, to see someone like Ozzie Newsome, a successful Black GM, to host up a Lombardi trophy. And I'll even take it a step further, as, you know, I am a proud HBCU alum, graduate of North Carolina A&T State University. And, you know, coming from a historically Black college and university that's deep rooted within myself and my family, I take a lot of pride in that, in terms of when I cut out that picture of Ozzie Newsome hosting up that trophy, I thought of when I was able to get this role. I said, well, I hope that I can be that same symbolism of hope for younger kids, Black and brown kids, that can look up to people like myself, look up to people like Chris Greer, look up to people like Andrew Barry that are in these roles to provide hope. And the other thing I would say on that I think is very important is that it's often looked at lack of diversity at the GM level. But one thing that I've always looked at is we need to continually to put more effort and to improve the diversity right up under the GM level. So when I look across the league, I see that there's less than 10 people of color that are at the director of college scouting role. There's less than 10 in the league that are at the, if you want to call it the assistant GM role, or whatever that number 2 position is. So to add more diversity to those levels to make the pipeline even stronger, I think will be definitely a step forward. But I can't say that I'm very much appreciative that Ms. Sheila Ford Hamp and Rod Wood, that they opened up their search to a diverse field of candidates. And I'm very, very excited, and I'm very, very appreciative to be in this role now.
Bob Winowski, Detroit News.
How are you, Brad? Good to meet you.
Thank you. How you doing?
Good, thank you. I know you can't talk about your head coach yet, but I wonder, vision-wise, when you envision what the team you're going to put together and the coach you have, what tenets are you looking for? What qualities? You know, people wonder, you're going to build an offense, you're going to build a defense. I know you're going to build everything, but what do you want out of your head coach, and what do you want when your team and coach are put together? What will it look like in your mind?
Yes, that's a great question, Bob, because, you know, I've always thought of, and I've always had in my mind, when I looked at a head coach, I never had a preference of, he's got to be an offensive coach, he's got to be a defensive coach, he's got to run this system, he's got to run that system. My number one core traits was, first of all, he's got to be a leader of men. He's got to be a leader of men. He's got to have presence. And within that presence, he's got to have poise. He had to have confidence. He has to have command. And he has to have mental toughness. He has to have intelligence. And I stress the mental toughness part because there will be ups and downs where that stress tolerance has to be at the right level and to be able to persevere through those moments. So those are some of the tenets. You know, a strong passion to develop. I just know that we'll be aggressive through all avenues of player acquisition, but, you know, let's just be honest. I come from the college draft background, and, you know, I look forward to building this team through the draft. And so if it is a young team, I want to make sure that the head coach has a strong passion with his assistants to have a strong passion to develop players.
All right. Last question, Michael Stats, WJR.
How you doing, Brad? Congrats on getting the job.
Hey, Michael, thank you.
Just wonder if you could kind of walk me through like your first steps, initial steps on how you assess the roster and the first steps you move. Obviously, free agency, the draft not too far away.
Yeah, it's a great question. So initially, right immediately, once the head coach is on board, I want to make sure that we sit down and make sure that I am in direct alignment, in full understanding of what his philosophy is and what his vision is. I've always had this question of, well, what is your vision of the team? And I can tell you what I wanted to look like, but truly it is the head coach's vision. You know, he's the face of the team. He's the voice of the team. So I want to make sure that, like I was saying about the service role as a GM, I want to make sure that I'm providing the head coach and aiding him with the best possible resources to make sure that his system and philosophy is running at an elite level. So that's first and foremost that will have to happen. And once we get that on board, then I think that we'll have that'll be a great start of the process of how we'll dive into the initial outset of free agency and what those plans are, and to make sure that we're bringing in players that truly fit. You know, I never forget when Sean came in 2017 with the Rams, is that, we signed Robert Woods and Andrew Whitworth, and, they might not have been, I'm not sure if you want to deem it the popular names, but they were fits. They were, culture fits. They were schematic fits. So, that's a good intentional approach and model that, I can definitely take and follow as I embark on this journey with the Lions. And, just for that relationship, I always said that it has to be tight as family. So me and the head coach, we have to be, I'm sure you heard, aligned at the hip in lockstep. But I truly think tight as family is very important, because there might be times where you might not see eye to eye, but when you're tight as family, you can work through those things and come to a winning solution.
Appreciate it, Brad. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Brad. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, guys. One pride.
All right. I think that's it, man. I haven't talked for a minute. Hold up. I think that's it, man. Woo, how long was that? I feel like that was a hot minute long. How long was that? My thing says 82 seconds. That ain't right. All right. Let me make sure he's not saying anything else. Okay, that's it. So, there we go, man. I'm going to go to OBS. I'm going to get myself kind of in the way here a little bit. Yeah, let me just do that. I'm just going to take that off the screen for a second. And we can chat for a minute. I got a couple videos I got to work on for the DC position. The Lions, yes, they have. The Lions have hired Aaron Glenn. Shout out to my man Phantom. He basically called that thing. So shout out to him. But yeah, the Lions have hired Aaron Glenn. Oh, this camera quality is garbage right now. What? Okay, we'll leave it though. So, man, hey, initial reactions, man. How y'all feeling? Let's see what the chat's looking like. Initial reactions. And then I'll touch on a few things, but I'll probably make a video. As you guys were saying during the chat, I was taking notes. Took a lot of notes there because otherwise I'll have to go back and watch it. I probably will go back and watch some of it. I just like taking notes so that way I can remember what he said, because I'd probably forget because I'm so locked in. So what's the chat popping like, man? What's the chat? Have been popping for real? Hey, I appreciate you, man. Brad is a beast. Can't wait for the draft. I like it. Aaron Glenn, that hire is fire. Woo, Tony, calm down. Hold up. I like Aaron Glenn. We got a lot of people in here. We got a lot of people. Shout out to everybody that stopped in. Let's see. It sounded like he wanted to make the Lions good. He did. He was I thought he was pretty good at talking. I thought he was pretty good. Like y'all were saying, sounded a little nervous. To be real, bro, I would have been super nervous up there. So I don't blame him at all. But hey, I thought he was pretty good at it once he got going. I thought he was pretty thorough with his answers. Like he knew what he wanted to say. Which I think is good. So, he obviously has a vision, has a way he wants to do things. I think it's an interesting approach. It's definitely kind of, when we were listening to Sheila and we were listening to Rod Wood at the beginning, and they came out and said, okay, it's going to be one of those things where they're kind of it's a collaborative effort, not necessarily one coach reports to GM or something like that. I thought that was an interesting way to go about it. And then the way he answered at the end there, saying it's truly the head coach's vision. And he said, basically he's going to be kind of like the servant towards the head coach and his vision. I thought that was a really interesting way to go about it. It's definitely different maybe from what we saw in the past. I don't know exactly how they did it with Patricia and with Quinn, but it was the different answer for sure. But he seems, content to do what he does best. And what he does best is he scouts, right? He knew that. He brought it up a few times. He wants to build a team through the draft because that's what he knows. That's what he's good at. I think that's a big reason he took some responsibility off him with Mike Disner. So, I think it makes sense, right? He's going to stick to what he does really well, and he's just going to draft the heck out of players. And I'm hoping, the analytics, the charts, the things like that, he's really good at it. All right, what's the chat saying? Glenn and Campbell have a ton of ties. Tons of ties. Hey, I you know what's funny about that? I was working on a video, if y'all were in here beginning. So I was working on a video about the candidate, and then we hired him. So I didn't get the video done in time. So I may just like edit it just a little bit and just kind of put that same video out there. So you guys should see it pretty soon. Elephant in the room is Stafford's future as the Lion. That will determine. It's going to be a lot. I think, you know, it's always tough because he's never going to answer those straight up. We're just kind of have to wait and see what happens. With the Stafford situation, I can't remember what I wrote down what he said. He basically said, what did he say about it? I probably could go back and watch it. Where's my Stafford stuff? He likes his competitiveness. But he's, like he said, he's going to reach out to every single player on the roster, which, you know, makes sense. I wasn't expecting him to give much answer there. It's always a tough spot to put him in because, you know, you can't say, you know, he's not going to tell you what he's going to do. But I did like what he said about, you know, the team, and it's something that we talked about. When did we talked about this, I think, in yesterday's stream. We were watching an NBA game. How he basically, with NFL teams, is that, you know, it can flip just like that. You know, you play 16 games, next year it'll be 17, and a few plays can change an outcome of a season. Few plays can change a game. Seasons can flip right on their head. It's kind of just what happened with the Rams, you know, with Sean McVay. It can flip very fast. And the way that he said things, you know, the way that he was like, hey, I'm going to pivot your rebuild words towards retool. He was kind of looking at it to me, like he said in his other statement, that he said, our approach is basically to put the most competitive team on the field in 2021. And I think that's the way you got to look at it. You know, you always are prepared for the future. You're always lined up for the future. But in the NFL, like, I think you always go out there with the mindset that, look, we're gonna go be the most competitive team we can be, that we can win this year. You know, you try to go make it happen. And maybe that's more the roster, maybe that's just his thoughts, but I think that's the truth, though. I think a season can flip very fast. A couple of different plays can change a year. You know, it's not like the NBA where we're playing 82 games where, you know, it's just fast. You know, you could be a pretty good team that doesn't have a good record. And I think that's why it's difficult to stay consistent in the NFL, because you'll see, here's what I look at. I look at 2014 with us, right? We were 11-5. Next year, we start 1-7, you know, just like that. And we had this great year. We had this great, oh, yeah, we were 11-5. We look great. And all of a sudden, we're 1-8, 1-7 to start the next season. How does it happen? Well, I just think it happens because it's so easy to go from here to the bottom. It's so easy to go from bottom to the top in the NFL. I mean, it's not easy to go from worst team in the league to Super Bowl. That's not usually going to happen. But in terms of a few games, like that can flip very quickly. So I think his mindset is right. His bold plan, what did he say about his bold plan? He said his bold plan was basically bold moves, which was a process. It was a process of bold moves. Obviously, he wasn't going to tell us that bold plan was, but he did say there wasn't like one move that he said that he's going to have to make as soon as he comes in. He said there wasn't a move that there's this move I got to make happen right now. Of course, he's going to evaluate the whole roster. And I do like the fact him being the scouting guy for this year that he's already ready for the draft, man. He should be pretty well prepared for that. So the draft should be fun. There's no question about it. Him running the draft board. Now, he's done it with the Rams, but him being the guy, the man for the drafts, it should be super fun. We'll see if he moves around. I mean, there's just a lot of unknowns about him. So it'll be interesting. I think draft time should be awesome, though. What is the chat saying? I want to keep that for OC. Does Aaron Glenn signing confirmed Dan Campbell? Darren Campbell should be confirmed tomorrow. It should be confirmed tomorrow. It's pretty much confirmed. They just can't technically do it yet because I don't think he's even there yet. So that will be confirmed tomorrow, but it's going to be Dan Campbell. Let's see. Yes, the process. That was interesting. He said trust the process. I couldn't help but laugh, man. I thought of the Sixers as soon as he said that. When he said trust the process, I was like, oh my goodness. He did respond with the fan base will be happy with the results, which got to make you feel good. But when he said that, I can't help but laugh a little bit. I was like, okay, I see you. I see you. Trust the process. But I think it's tough. I mean, you know, what is he going to say? You know, it's tough to answer a lot of questions here. What are you going to say? You know, I don't know. There's a lot of things that's difficult to do. And there's probably a lot of things that he doesn't know yet because in his words, that it's truly the head coach's vision because he's like the face of the team. If that's the case, the head coach ain't even here yet. So, I mean, for him, maybe he has a few things in mind. And I think that's the answer, though. The process is the answer because he has a process. He has a way about going things when it comes to draft, how he does it analytically. He has a process of what certain players he wants. He has a process of, you know, the passion. He wants passion. He wants guys that are basically like family. He wants guys that fit in. He wants players that play hard, that are competitive. That's the process. I think he has a certain process, guys, he looks for. Like Sheila Ford Hamp and Rod Wood talked at the beginning. The process of, you know, 40-yard dash, arm length, all this stuff that equals together. It's kind of like a formula. My man Dr. Detroit said Moneyball. That's what I thought of too. I actually wrote that down. But I think that's his process. But there isn't much insight he can give because they don't know exactly what that process is going to entail because he, as he said, is basically the servant. He's going to play that servant role to the head coach. So it'll be more to me like that donation. Yo, when that went off, I was kind of scared. I was like, who is that talking? Yo, and then it kept going. I'm like, oh no, is this like a super long dono? I appreciate it. I can't remember who it was from, but thank you. I think it was from the person that's from Hawaii. I don't know. But yeah, shout out to you. I appreciate it. I saw someone in the chat, Tobias slower than my grandma. Oh, that's messed up. Come on, man. Randy G just don't like having good football players, do they? Well, we'll see. We'll see. I mean, look, money's always it's a two-way, it's a two-way street. You got to get each side to find a degree on a deal, and we'll see. Should we keep Bevel? I like Bevel. Y'all know I like good. I like my man Bev. But we'll see. We'll see. I mean, I gotta look at more options, but I do like Bev. If we brought back Bev, I'd be extremely happy. I think it'd be great to have some consistency there. I mean, we talk about having things restart all the time, and hey, look, sometimes you got to just be like, okay, this ain't working. But I think when you have something that you've seen work, when it's brought the best out of your quarterback, and I'm assuming it could bring the best out of a lot of guys, when you have that and you have that consistency. If you can keep it, and it's not necessarily like you're forcing it, because I don't think Bevel would be something they're forced to hold on to. It's something that, okay, yeah, he's good at what he does, and if the people like him, I mean, the family attitude to me is a guy that could fit in this. I think he could fit in the role pretty well. Corey, on the other hand, yeah, he ain't gonna be here. We already hired the DC, but there's, I mean, look, he's still here. He's still here as of now. We'll see what happens, but I would be fine with bringing him back. So Campbell won't call plays. I don't think so. He's never called plays before. He's never done it. His only background is a tight end coach and assistant head coach. I mean, to me, he's going to be the manager of the team, which goes to the vision, which is great. To me, Dan Campbell is going to be the manager of this team. He's going to look at it. He's going to work on hiring the right people, work on the attitudes, trying to get everybody looking at it the same way. But it's not going to be him that's doing all the scheme and things like that because that's not his background. Let's see. Get rid of them terrible ground tracks. Some you can, some you can't. Some are difficult, and it's tough. It's tough, and that comes with sometimes you make the wrong hiring, and then sometimes it's the wrong signing, and sometimes when you move on from coaching staffs and from regimes, then you're stuck with those players that don't fit anymore, and it's like, well, dang. But that's what happens when you can't find that consistency. So I'm hoping they can find it here. That's all I want, man. I just want it to be stable at the top, and I'm hoping that's what we find here. Start by paying Kenny. We'll see. We'll see what he's looking for. I mean, hey, there's a chance that maybe he doesn't get what he's looking for. There's a chance he's the highest paid wide receiver in this free agency period. I don't know. I mean, I love Kenny Golladay, but I know it's, there's a lot of moves that have to be made, and you got to adjust based on what you have. And especially this year could be difficult because of the cap. If you can backload it kind of heavy, it may be possible, but it could be difficult, man. Do you want to be aggressive? Do you want him to be aggressive? I mean, look, I mean, I want him to do what he thinks right. I mean, you got him here. I want him to not hold back. So if that's making big moves, make the moves. I mean, look, there's certain guys obviously I want to pay, and certain guys I want to keep. But at the end of the day, like, you gotta follow a vision. You got to go with it. You can't be halfway. So whatever that vision is, I want him to go full on with it. I don't think aggressive is necessarily trading away every single player. I don't think that's, doesn't mean good. I think aggressive is just what do you think needs to be fixed? You value your position. What do you need to be fixed? But if I'm him, man, I hope I wouldn't hold him back. Like, this is the guy you brought in. But again, they said it's going to be the head coach's vision. So honestly, we got to kind of wait till we can hear from Dan Campbell, because to me, it just sounds like he's just going to wait till the coach comes in. They're going to discuss what they think needs to be changed. But as of now, there's a lot of things that we don't know. So I'm kind of just waiting to see. We're kind of just waiting to see who that will be when he gets hired. And we're kind of waiting to hear from him. But he may have more insight on that, because that seems to be the structure. Which, again, it's probably a little different because it didn't seem like that with Bob Quinn. But, all right. Was actually very smart. I did like the DC hiring. Like I said, man, the video is going to be coming out soon on that. So if anybody wants to know a little bit more about him, that's going to come out soon. Trade Stafford, take Kenny, or let him walk. We'll see, man. We'll see. Did he say he's trading Stafford? No, he didn't say that. There's probably not a lot. But again, I don't even know like if he has an idea of that. I don't even know what he knows what he wants to do with Matthew yet, because he kept it so bland, which is expected. I don't think he even knows what they want to do with it, because they're in that spot where, again, he's not the one that seems like he's going to make that vision. He's not the guy with that vision. He's just kind of like, okay, what do you think of this team? How do you feel about this, Dan? And then, I'll adjust based on it. If you feel like you want to go a different route, I'll use my draft skills, and I'll find us a quarterback. Because it even trades will probably be more Mike Disner, to be honest. It'll probably be a mix. But then if he's like, okay, you want to keep him, your first time head coach, you want to keep him, which is very likely, then all right, we'll keep him, and I'll use my what I do best, and we'll go elsewhere. We'll fill some needs. But it seems like he to me seems almost like not a servant, but more of just a very skilled, specifically at what he does and what he does best. And I think that's why they made his role what it is, and he's just there to kind of do his job at a high level. And they wanted a guy that can find talent, right? I mean, that's the biggest thing. They wanted a guy that could find talent, that had an eye for talent, and that's what he has. He's not going to reveal his hand. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't even think he's got a full hand yet. I think he's, waiting to see what Dan Campbell's got to say. I don't know how much they've talked. They've probably talked a few times, but, they probably haven't went over any specifics yet. So, like he said, he hasn't even talked to a player on the roster yet. So, it's still super early in the stages. But I'm just more excited to hear from Dan Campbell now, because I want to see what, if he gives us any kind of information. Have you noticed our former head coach are really good as our OC and DC? As OC and DC. That former... Wait, what do you mean? I'm confused. Like coaches before are really good at it? Well, I think a lot of them start with that background, and a lot of them have success there, and usually that's how they get to the head coaching position. So sometimes they don't do super well as a head coach, but then they can go back to being what they do, and that's coordinator. They can do it well, and there you go. What do the Niners give up for Watson? Oh man, I don't think the Niners are gonna make that trade, man, unless it's already happened. I think if anybody, I've heard the Jets, I've heard the Dolphins. I don't think they're gonna move Tua, but you never know. So yeah, I think we're gonna end this thing here, man. I don't want to go too into detail. Maybe we'll do a video on it, but I also got to get working on that defensive coordinator video. We need pass rush. It could be a focus. We'll talk about it. But it could be a focus based on what I've seen in the past. Let's see. Actually, I want to check something out real quick. Let me check something. Okay. All right. It's 5:30. So yeah, I got to get working. Dan, do another mock draft. Yeah. Now we're gonna start to roll those out. Now we starting to learn who's the staff is looking like. So excited for a DC video. I'm happy about that, man. Look at Holmes, man. So inspirational. He did look kind of inspirational up there. Do you see that we hired? Yep. Video coming soon. What about I want him to trade? Wait, I don't think he's talking to me with that one. I don't. Do you honestly believe that will help the time he needs to snooze start? So do we. Wait, what? If you keep Stafford, do you honestly believe that will help the time he needs to start? So I don't know how to answer it. Retool running back core and defense. I'd like to have another running back. Exactly. Yeah. Todd Bowles is very good DC for Tampa Bay. But yeah, that's like I said, that's how they usually get there. So you look at a guy like Doug, right? Great OC, head coach. Well, actually, he wasn't terrible as head coach, but kind of went wrong. You look at a guy like Marvin Lewis, incredible DC, head coach. So, hey, that's where you start, man. If you're really good at that, that's how you get looks. Kind of like this dude right here. He was really good at what he did, so he got his way up. You were dynamic duo. Oh, okay. Bevel is Jim Bob Cooter? Nah. No, I don't know. I don't think so. They have a completely different style. I think Bevel fits Stafford's style a lot more, and we saw that without Patricia. And Stafford's style is pretty simple, man. Let him cook. You got to let him push the ball down the field. That's what he likes to do. If I traded Stafford, who would I want? Man, I don't even know. I don't know, man. I don't know. We'll see if that becomes a reality. I'm just hoping it doesn't, but we'll see. A first, third this year, a second next to the pads. Yeah, hey, don't do what we did on Madden. As long as he just stays away from that. Who is going to be our offensive coordinator? I'm not sure yet. I'm not sure. We'll probably do a video on coordinator candidate soon. We did one, but we'll probably do a deeper one. Just put Watson on the Lions. Went 115. Oh my gosh. On Madden. Bevel needs to work on his run game. Yeah, I'd like to have another number 2 running back because Swift can run, man. We just need another running back. Let's have 2 quarterbacks. See who is better. Man, this ain't college, bro. What we doing? Come on, man. Would I trade? Nah, I wouldn't trade for Watson. I think it just puts us in a hole. It puts us in a hole. I mean, I don't like it. I don't like it, man. Look, I don't know. These guys, I'm not putting these guys in the same category as everybody else because everybody's different. But historically, man, this team's got a lot of things they need to figure out in terms of building a team. And if they can do that, great. If they can do that, great. The more picks, the better. I think, you got a guy that does something very well as your general manager. What he does well is draft picks. So, honestly, the more picks I can give to Brad Holmes, the better I feel. The more confident I am, because I know that that's what he does well. So the more picks that he has the opportunity to use, the more confident I'll feel because that's what he does. Do you think we'll sign Adrian Peterson again? I could see it. I could see a cheap deal. I could see it. Especially maybe even after this interview, I could see it. Stafford, want to get rid of him? Yeah, I wouldn't. We have Swift. But we need it too, man. Is Swift going over 1,000 next year? I don't think so. I think I think they split carries too much for that. I mean, I would love it. I just think they split too much. Red Wings game. When did the Red Wings play? Peterson on Madden 22. Hey. Oh, my gosh. Swift is a baller. I love Swift. All right, we're going to end this thing here, man. I appreciate everybody coming in. I like your channel. Good job. Good commentary. I appreciate it, man. So, I'll see y'all. Come back for the DC video, man, if you guys want to learn a little bit about Aaron Glenn. And, yeah, I think that's it, man. It's good to hear from Brad Holmes. Hopefully we get to hear from our boy Dan Campbell soon. It should be announced tomorrow, so stay tuned for that. He probably won't interview tomorrow, but sometime this week maybe. Maybe like a Friday. I don't know. I'm just guessing. How do we get DC for coach? Well, I think that tells you where we're at with our head coach, right? Not we better hire the head coach now. Hold up. You can't back out now, all right? Oh, my goodness. Let's try to get Godwin. Godwin's quick, man. I like Godwin. Peace, Deanne. Get out with that vehicle. All right. I'm out. Thank you, Prof, for watching. Have a great day. I'll see you guys soon, hopefully. Come on, man. Where y'all at? Go Lions. Wait. Oh, yeah. Go Lions. Thank you, Prof, for watching, and I'm out.